Welcome back. I'm starting the next video from 3.1. So this is the spread of Jainism. The chapter is Thinkers, Beliefs and Buildings. So the topic itself says that the spread of Jainism means we have to study here where Jainism had spread, or how far, to what extent Jainism spread. So after reading the textbook, we'll come to know that Jainism was not exactly successful in spreading in propagating the religion. So there might be some reasons which really did not work for Jainism. So we have to study, we have to come across all these things, that what were the reasons that Jainism really failed. So let us see. First of all, now we came to know that Jainism scholars produce a wealth of literature. Means there were so many books written, and these books were written in variety of languages, that is Prakrit, Sanskrit, Tamil. Now for centuries, like as it is said, that manuscripts of these texts were carefully preserved in libraries which were attached to temples. But only by preserving all these books or preserving the manuscripts and all, our religion will not spread. Then here we are going to study that what were the exact reason that the spread of Jainism, or the why the propagation of Jainism really failed. So let's start. But to begin with, you have to take down a question, that is, why did Jainism have little appeal among the masses? So to begin with, I'll say that Mahavira spent 30 years of his life to spread his religion in the country. After his death, Jain Munis, monks and followers spread out from Bihar into other parts of India to propagate his religion. Despite all their efforts, Jainism neither attracted the masses in India nor in any other country of the world. Jainism did not make any significant impact on the masses. So after reading this, we came to know that there might be some reasons. So let's see what are the reasons. Point number one is that lack of royal patronage. Now, firstly, the initial tempo. When you say initial tempo, means in the beginning there should be some push, right? Now here the initial tempo of royal patronage of Jainism by Bimbisara, Ajatasattu, Udayan and Kharavela was not kept by kings and princes of later times. Rather, the zeal and determination of Ashoka, Kanishka and Harsha to spread Buddhism came to eclipse Jainism. As such, lack of sincere and determined royal patronage came to relegate Jainism. So here, when I just explained, maybe some of you do not understand. Now here what happened is that royal patronage means the support of the king. Okay, now the names which were taken for Jainism, or the kings which were following Jainism, were Bimbisara, Ajatasattu, Udayan and Kharavela. Now these people, or these kings, did not do much to propagate Jainism. Okay, but the other side of it, that is King Ashoka, Kanishka and Harsha, these were also the kings, but they were following Buddhism, and they really did great jobs for spreading Buddhism. And what happened now? Buddhism was spreading far and wide, and Jainism was not spreading. Okay, it stopped up to an extent. So what happened? Now Jainism, the masses of people who are following Jainism became smaller and smaller, whereas Buddhism was growing. And that is what it said. It eclipsed, means it started covering Jainism. That means Buddhism started covering Jainism. It is not like the putting on cover on it, but exactly the population of followers increased for Buddhism than in Jainism. The reason? Lack of royal patronage. Okay. Next one is that lack of efforts. There were also a decline in the missionary zeal and sincerity of the Jaina followers, or Jain Pandits, okay, or Munis we say. They did not show any kind of efforts in spreading Jainism. They were no more particular in undertaking the strain of spreading Jainism. They thought like, what will we get after spreading this Jainism? So they started feeling like, oh, why to spend that much of power, energy, or why to give ourselves strain in spreading Jainism in villages or in towns? Then the traders and businessmen remain loyal. Okay, so the traders and businessmen remain loyal and they continued to follow Jainism, but they had no time to do anything for the spread of Jainism. So they just followed the businessmen or the merchants. They just followed Jainism, but they did not do great jobs for spreading of Jainism. That was point number 2. Now the next point is severity of Jainism. Some of the religious beliefs which were followed by this Jainism, or the master, or we can say the Pandits or the Munis of Jainism, were too severe to be followed. Okay, unlike the middle path of Buddhism, okay, Jainism, they had a severe penance. Penance means punishment. They had a meditation, fasting and restraint, etc., which are very much too severe as compared to Buddhism. That means, or some people started thinking that what will we do after doing all these things? What is the gain? What are we going to get after punishing us ourselves? All these were too severe to endure. Okay, they could not follow it. People soon became fed up of all these practices. Okay, in course of time, Jainism, which was once adored by many people, became a chapter or became a religion which was really hated by people. The next point is unintelligible philosophy. Most of the Jaina philosophy was not at all wise for the masses. Means they could not think that this thing can be carried out for the cause of religion. The concept of jiva, ajiva, pudgala, etc. could not be understood properly by the people. Now whatever I said, these are some of the philosophy which the Jainism had to follow. Many could not accept the view that stone, water, tree had soul of their own. Thus, a gradual decline in popular faith of Jainism could be seen, and this paved the way for the decline of the religion. Then point number 5 is factionalism in Jainism. Now factionalism among Jainism after death of Mahavira was the 5th cause of decline of Jainism. Some started to advocate to literally follow the teachings of Mahavira, while others wanted to tone down the severity of Jainism. Some they say that let us follow as it is. Okay, whatever is given by Mahavira, whatever is taught by Mahavira, let us follow. But some they said, why not we reduce the severity of the Jainism? As such, what happened was that there was a rift, okay, which led to division in the Jain ranks. They were now divided into Digamvara and Swetamvara groups. Means 2 groups were formed from the same followers of Jainism. The former, that means Digambara, led by Bhadrabahu, okay, gave up dress, adopted severe penance for self-purification and became indifferent to worldly life. Whereas the Swetamvara group, led by Sitalabahu, wore white dress. And the division weakened Jainism, and as such they started to decline. Then the next cause is the spread of Buddhism. Now Buddhism became a formidable obstacle in the path of the spread of Jainism, because when you read Jainism or when you read Buddhism, you will find that some of the ideas are almost similar. But now here Buddhists and their way of following is very simple and as well as intelligible. There were no severity in it. Even a householder could follow it. That means it was so good that people who were following Jainism, they started feeling that why we are following Jainism. Look at Buddhism. They had so welcoming ideas. So they just stop following Jainism and jump into Buddhism. The last and the most important is this again, role of Hindu preachers. Hinduism posed threats to Jainism. Okay, now Nimbarka, Ramanuja, Shankaracharya, etc. came to make the foundation of Hinduism more solid and stronger. Now, because of these people, now what happened? When these people, the name which I have just read out, that is Nimbarka, Ramanuj, Shankaracharya, when they started to build up the foundation of Hinduism, slowly and slowly people also started feeling like Hinduism is much better than Jainism. So they jump into it. Rise of Vaishnavism, Saivism, and then Shaktism paled Jainism into comparative insignificance. Now people started feeling that Jainism is very bad, and they did not try to continue to follow Jainism. Now decline of Jainism became inevitable and unavoidable. Thus Jainism, which gained momentum, came to a decline stage after the spread of Buddhism. The Hindu preachers put constant problem on the path of the spread of Jainism, so it declined. The Buddha and the quest for enlightenment. So when you read this part, a question that arises our brain is that how do we know about Buddhist teachings or Buddha's teaching? And even if we know, that means there might be some books, there might be some kind of literature, and how these are preserved, how these are prepared. So this can be the question that you can write so that it becomes a part of your note. The question is, how were Buddhist texts prepared and preserved? The first thing that comes to our mind is that Buddha during his time did not write anything. Okay, whatever he said or whatever he preached were all in oral. So the Buddha used to deliver the teaching through debate and discussion. Men, women and children attended these discussions and discussed what they had heard or learned. None of these teachings were written down during his lifetime. And then after his death, his followers, they start to call a council. And in this council, they all call the elders at the place known as Vaishali. All his teachings were compiled in the council. They were known as Tipitaka or Tipitaka, which literally means the 3 baskets to hold various texts. Now these texts were transmitted orally and then written, categorized as per their subject, matter and length. As Buddhism extended to new lands, Sri Lanka, other texts like Mahavamsha and Dipamsha were written. Many pilgrims like Faxian and Xuanzang carried the Buddhist texts with them to disseminate, that means to spread the teachings of Buddha. Central Asia to China, Korea, Japan, and to the seas of Myanmar, Thailand and Indonesia. All this part, the Buddhist or the Buddhism started to spread because of this type of leaders, or we can say this type of religious pilgrims who carried the books with them, so that people of their area could learn or could understand what is Buddhism or also follow it. So continuing in the same page, here we have to study about Gautam Buddha. So you can write a note out here, that is, write a note on Gautam Buddha. So there can be 2 parts in the note. That is, the first part, it's the time before he left his house, and the second part is when or what he became after he left the house. So let us see what was he before leaving the house or before he left the the worldly pleasures and all. So let's see now what happened here. Now Gautam Buddha, as we all know, he was also known as Siddhartha, and he was a founder of Buddhism. He was born at Lumbini in or about 563 BC. He was the only son of Raja Shuddhana, the ruler of Kapilavastu. His mother died when he was only a week old. The boy was brought up as a prince in his father's palace. He was given the best possible education under Brahmin scholar. He studied all the Vedic literature, but still he was unsatisfied. Now from his childhood, Siddhartha had a noble bearing. He was a kind-hearted fellow and had a spiritual bent of mind. He was married to a princess, Yashoda, the daughter of a neighboring king, at the age of 18. After several happy years of married life, a son was born to Prince Siddhartha and Yashoda. They named him as Rahul. Now Siddhartha had thus everything necessary to make up the joy of life, but he was not happy at his heart. One night, the prince rose up in the middle of the night, took one last wishful look at his wife and the child, and quietly slipped away from the palace. He left his home and kingdom in about 533 BC as a wandering monk in search of truth. Now this event, when I say this event, means the moment when he left the house, this event of life of Buddha was known as Great Renunciation. So this is all about what he was before he left the house. Now we are going to study that why he left the house. What did prompt him from his great renunciation at the age of 29? So we are studying that why he left his house at the age of 29. So one day what happened, he just wanted to go out of his palace. So he forced his charioteer to take him out into the city. So moving about the outskirts of his city or the palace, the prince had seen a helpless old man, a dead man, a sick man crying with pain, and a holy man. What caused man condition of suffering and grief? He wondered. Now how could man overcome it? Then he recalled that the holy man, clothed in rags and carrying a begging bowl, had worn an expression of remarkable peace and serenity. Now when he looked at all this, he was in deep distress, saying that what can be correct, what can be the next thing. Okay, he wanted to know what is the real truth of his life. Okay, so now perhaps he thought the first step to discover the answer was to renounce luxuries of royal life. So after leaving his father's kingdom, the Prince Siddhartha went to a forest near Rajgriha and lived for 2 years with the two famous teachers of Hindu scriptures. They were named as Alara and Udarva. He learnt all that this good man could teach him, but the great and the real peace which he was looking for did not come. He then joined the company of 5 monks who practiced self-mortification. Following their example, he starved himself and has seen or been quoted often as saying, "When I touched my belly, I could feel my spine." Often he was too feeble to stand up. Worse still, he made no progress in his search for truth. Leaving the monks, Siddhartha made his way to the banks of river Nirjana near Bodh Gaya of today. Then one day, as he sat immersed in a deep meditation under a peepal tree, enlightenment came to him, and he finally realized the truth. He had seen the light, and ever after was known as the Buddha or the Enlightened One. This event is called Dharmachakra Pravartan, or turning the wheels of righteousness in Buddhism. He now decided to spend the rest of his life in preaching the truth as he saw it. He delivered his first sermon at the Deer Park in Sarnath near Benares, where he found his 5 ascetic disciples. The 5 holy men fell on their knees when they saw his radiant figure and became his first disciple. For the next 40 years, the Buddha moved about the Gangetic Valley in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, preaching his message, visiting and converting princes as well as peasants, irrespective of caste. He converted hundreds and thousands of people to the faith, which later on came to be known as Buddhism. He considered his disciples in the great Buddhist Sangha or order and endowed it with the rules and discipline. He died at the age of 80 at Kushingara. It is generally believed that Buddha was a contemporary of Bimbisara and Ajatasattu of Magadha and died in the reign of the latter. We are on next topic. This is topic number 5, the teachings of Buddha. For this you can take down a question. The question is, describe the main teachings of Buddhism. So this particular question may be asked for 3 marks or might be for 8 marks. So I'll try to explain you almost 10 points so that you can select, or you can just do the favor by writing the most possible points that you can remember, right? So let's see. Mahatma Buddha was the founder of Buddhism, as we all know. He gave a very simple teachings which the general masses could adopt easily. As a result, thousands of people became his followers. Now Buddhism within a short span of time became a leading religion of the world. The main teachings of Buddhism can be as follows, right? Number 1, it's 4 noble truths. That means Buddha gave stress on the following 4 noble truths. That is, the world is full of sorrows. The cause of the sorrow is desire, and we can conquer sorrow by conquering desires. And the last one is, desires can be conquered by following the 8-fold path. Now point number 2 is the 8-fold path. Now what is this 8-fold path? Fold, okay, that means 8 types of things that you have to follow. So Buddha had suggested an 8-fold path for freeing oneself from sorrow and achieving nirvana. The 8 principles of the 8-fold path are: right belief, right thought, right speech, right action, right means of livelihood, right effort, right recollection, and right meditation. I guess I don't need to explain you all these things because these are very simple to understand. Then number 3, what he said was non-violence. According to Mahatma Buddha, one should not hurt living beings by his actions, speech, or heart. This is non-violence. Killing animals and animal sacrifice is a sin, according to his teaching. He also propagated that one should show love and sympathy for others. Next teaching of Buddha, karma or action theory, we say. Now Buddhism completely accepts that karma theory. According to this, one gets fruits of his present action in the next birth. Good deeds bear good results and bad deeds bear bad results. Sacrifices cannot free one from his sins. So one has to do good deeds to have a better future. Nirvana or salvation. According to Mahatma Buddha, main aim of an individual is to attain nirvana. He should not, that means a person should not indulge himself in the quarrel of heaven or hell. Teaching number 6, no faith in God or no belief in God. According to him, he said that he do not believe in the worship of God or other gods or goddesses. He always remained mum about the authority of God. He was of the view that there is no authority which runs the universe. It is dharma instead of any god. So according to Buddhism, they believe that whatever runs the world is not the god but is the dharma. Right? So now point number 7, or the teaching number 7, no to sacrifice of animals. According to Buddha, he said that sacrifice of animals are useless rituals and customs. He denounced the theory of Hinduism that one could attain moksha by performing sacrifices. He also considered that chanting mantras are useless. He considered the dharma as a truth or the true religion in which useless customs are not included. So in other words, he said that no sacrifices, no rituals, no yajnas, means no prayers, okay, means that mantras and all. And only with this you will get salvation or you will get freedom. Then views about Vedas and Sanskrit. So this is the teaching number 8. His idea about Vedas and Sanskrit were very much different from that of Hinduism. According to him, true knowledge could be given in any language. But in Hindus, it was very different. They say that the superior language is Sanskrit and Vedas gives us all the writings in Sanskrit. And with that only we get the knowledge that gives us the right path, or the knowledge that shows us the right path. So he also refused to accept that Sanskrit was more sacred than that of other languages. He did not give any importance to Vedas. That was teaching number 8. Teaching number 9, disbelief in caste system. Mahatma Buddha did not believe in discrimination of caste system. He was of the view that all humans are equal and no one is superior or inferior to each other or one another on the basis of caste. That is why he made people of all the castes as his followers. He was of the view that the path of enlightenment is open for everyone, not only for rich or for poor, for black or only for whites. But he said it's for everyone. Then the next one, or the teaching number 10, is opposition of meditation. Mahatma Buddha was not in favor of strict meditation. He was of the view that nothing could be attained by not eating or drinking or keeping fast, remaining or punishing yourself by not eating. You will not attain anything. That is what Buddhism said, or Mahatma Buddha said. It's useless. One could attain nirvana even while staying in family life. So according to him, he said that if you want to do something good for yourself, you can get it from anywhere, any part of your world, but you have to follow all the teachings of Buddhism in order to get enlightenment. So that was all about the teachings of Buddha.